last round of today's day one Swiss bracket. And Leroy, pray with me. Can we not get a Draven for once? Okay.
I mean, it's not Draven.
It might be Draven Irelia, which we've
Um,
seen 100 times, but okay, for now, I'll take it. I'll
yeah.
take it. A nice little Irelia. I'm always a fan of seeing some nice little dancing around the board. Irelia versus
Oh,
a Sivir. Okay, this is a different matchup that we haven't seen. If this is an undefeated Sivir versus an undefeated Irelia, we are in for some high level competition, which I'm always excited to see, of course.
yeah. And the question is it Miracle or Aura Sivir? I mean, it could also be mid-range, but I really don't think it is.
Yeah, we'll see. I think Sivir has a decently good matchup against Irelia. If it is the Miracle variant, they just draw one too many cards. But of course, is this starting things off with the Dreaming Tree? So I think Irelia
And it
will
will
be
be
able
Aura.
to keep up with it. And oh, as you said, the latter variant, the Aurora Sivir, seems to be more the case with that Aspirant Climb, doesn't it?
Yeah. I mean, it has to be. Uh, I don't see. And Aurora Sivir's Miracle Sivir scales pretty well, so it could be, but I really don't think so. It makes much more sense for it to be Aura. And we've seen that it can do some great things. It was an MF, but MF took the second place at Bologna. So yeah, definitely really good potential for this deck. There's not much anti-gear for Irelia if she does not run Disarming Rakes.
Mm-hmm. Definitely not in the main board, but once it comes around to game 2 and game 3, if it doesn't go her way nice and early in that initial game, she does have some good sideboard options, at least recently. And whoa, throwing us off for a little bit of a loop here. It was an Aspirant Climb, but I'm seeing call shots, I'm seeing scrap heaps. They want to go late game just because they feel like they have more of an advantage late game. That is an interesting strategy. Obviously, it's been working quite well for them this game. What do we think about that, Leroy? Do you just feel like Sivir overall, the later it gets, the more of an advantage she's building because of the sheer draw power and ability of stacking their deck, maybe throughout by the end of it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm running it. I've cooked a deck where I run Espionage Climb only because I'm late game powered, and so it's a good strategy. I think it's totally legit. It's not confirmed, but yeah, as you said, it definitely might be a Miracle Sivir actually, and I'm not that surprised. As I said, it scales really well into late game. Takes time to build all the seals, all the gold, all the strategy, get your mind splitters, gain your fees, discard your opponent's hand, all this really funny stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does make
Let's
sense.
see.
The later it goes, you do have some combos like we've seen that Treasure Trove. I don't think it has the Pack of Wonders, but Treasure Trove in general feels decent and good. What's the combo with Sivir? I remember Treasure Trove. Oh, that's what it was. Just to get the gold off the Sivir Legend ability by using a recycled rune, of course. But nice little merchant to start things off for Sivir. Nice little Lonely Poro to curve things out for Irelia. And this is the second Irelia we see with the Lonely Poro. Usually they kind of forego running any other little guys besides the sneaky deckhands. But I like them. I like the additions of Lonely Poro personally. At least 2 of them feel good in the deck I'm currently running. But yeah, this is in 100% looking to be more of a Miracle Shell with that Scrap Heap getting pitched to draw 2. And then everything else kind of signifies that as well. You got the On the Hunt, which is kind of like the Bushwhack for Sivir. And then you even have the Confronts, Treasure Trove, another Merchant for sure. It's pretty cool to see if she does want to go late game, how much of an advantage she's going to be able to build. This should be a good one because we are seeing the records. They are 100% undefeated, which is really cool to see.
Yeah, and there might be another really good reason in playing this specific battlefield for Sivir, for Miracle Sivir. Can you, Jamie? Can you guess what I'm thinking about?
For Aspirant Climb?
Yeah,
To get to 9. No, you're gonna have to tell me. I can't really think of too much of an advantageous
the fact
reason.
that you're playing this makes your opponent think that you're playing Aura
Ah,
Sivir and makes him like mulligan and think about his gameplay at first like he's playing against that Aura Sivir.
okay. I see what you're saying. I can respect it. A
And
little bit of mind games before
yeah,
the game is always a good, effective strategy, of course. I think, nonetheless, though, at the bare minimum, you do feel like Sivir has a good matchup the later and later it goes into the game because of the
definitely.
sheer draw power. So I think it goes both ways, but I love what you're saying. The little mental game does kind of get to your opponents more often than not. And if you mulligan some kind of gear removal, I know Irelia, we mentioned, doesn't really mainboard the gear removal, but it will definitely throw your opponent off their usual game plan. As we're seeing a Tide Turner not really playing it for the ability just to kind of establish a nice little 2-drop on that second turn and then passes it on over. So nice and slow scoring game, 1-1 so far. I'm curious why they didn't want to play out Fervent just yet. Might be scared of something like a bit of a challenge or something. So wants to leave up some counter potential with a Defy or something. So maybe the Queen comes out the very next turn. We'll see.
Yeah. And first sabotage is going to get defied. It's always a question when you're playing a screen. There's no defy.
Oh, let's see what's in hand. I'm seeing the Ride the Wind, the Tide Turner,
Yeah,
Audacious, and what's the card? Is that an On Guard? Yeah, it looks to be
yeah,
an
there's
On
an on
Guard.
guard.
Mm-hmm.
So must be the right the win, right? Because it's much easier to play around on guard than right the win.
I think so, right? Ride the Wind is such a nuisance sometimes. You know,
Allied,
even
allied
when
guys,
you know it's
allied.
in hand. Oh, he took the On Guard? Okay.
That's why he's here and
Interesting.
I'm not. Um, okay, really interesting pick, which I would never thought about. To me, the other answer was kind of obvious, but he's
Yeah,
probably thinking that this is going to accelerate Irelia too quickly, or I want to keep my unit safe next turn from the Tide Turner. There could be several reasons.
Yeah, maybe they're trying to play around this being the most rune efficient play for Irelia, which is kind of has to be the on guard, especially when we think about the play we were mentioning before. If it's time for Irelia Fervent to hit the board, a nice and easy 1-cost spell to go ahead and ready here from your legend ability would be available to her. And I think this TXG player is considering his options here. Does he want to go ahead and play out the champ from the zone? He also has Draven Audacious. You do have enough rooms to leave up 2, 4, 6, and then 1 up to kind of bluff a bit of a Defy. He knows you don't have a Defy, but who knows what you could have drawn on that simple draw for turn, of course. Because Audacious doesn't feel the worst. You want to kind of go ahead and establish it out before any kind of bigger threats come out, like those Rasas. And I'm trying, what are all the other threats for Sivir? I'm trying to remember back on Randy's list. Is Rasas and what else? I know there was something else in there late game.
To me, Mind Splitter.
Okay, that's what it was.
I think he runs some Mind Splitter, but if he doesn't, it might be an option. I think it's always a really good late game camp for purple.
And I love this. You're not able to do this against Alexa Draven, right? Where you could take a nice little efficient 1-for-1 trade while getting a draw 1. Draven in this situation would win a combat, aka drawing a card. So it's nice to see a bit more of a fairer deck. But it is Sivir. It is still the same Miracle Shell. So it's not necessarily too fair, but a little bit more fair than the endless draw. What it seems like an endless draw from the likes of Draven.
Yeah. Not only this, but I feel like Sivir is maybe Miracle Sivir is maybe the hardest deck to play in the meta right now.
Okay. What makes you say that?
Uh,
Is it just because you have to really know what you're sending to the bottom, or is there another reason?
well, there's this, but you have so many things to consider, so many lines possible. You have to think about a Bayesian triggers per turn,
Okay.
calculate every one of these triggers to optimize your gold efficiency. Like you're playing some PV while you're playing against your opponent. Basically, you got a farming simulator game going on. Um, it's pretty crazy, and not only all this, but also, I mean, Randy said it. Randy posted a tier list for those who don't know, where he talked about the hardest decks to place, and Sivir and Ezreal were top of the list. And I've seen some really good Sivir players play the deck, and it's insane to me, uh, the lines that they have to take and everything that they have to do it in one single turn.
Yeah, I could totally see that. I feel like those are the type of decks, like in the right hands, perhaps in the hands of a 5-0 player here in the national event. It just feels like it's unstoppable. And speak of things that really, really put a hindrance on Irelia's game plan that seems unstoppable are those sabotages. That's the second one of the game, and just a bit of hand destruction. Not only taking out the initial on guard as we saw, but now the choice we thought was a bit more of the obvious choice, being that Ride the Wind gets taken out from the hand, leaving behind just 2 cards, and there's no combat trick, so that Dreaming Tree isn't really going to be proccing to go ahead and gain back that card advantage that the sabotage took away. So Aurelia looking in a tough position, and she's behind on points 4-2. Sivir in a dominant position in this early game number 1. Let's see if there's anything Aurelia could possibly do, because at the moment, your only bit of a saving grace has to be that you have that chosen champion still available to use, but you don't really have an easy way of really making use on that same turn. So you could play it, but that's pretty much the whole entire turn. So perhaps not the most productive turn, and it could lead to a turn where Sivir slowly but surely creeps onto that 6 point, and then eventually on that follow-up turn try to close things out for the final push. And oh, look at that, Leroy. They actually do have the Pack of Wonders combo. I don't think Randy was playing that, or was he?
Uh, I'm not sure he was. No. Um, yeah, I'm really trying to remember, but I don't think I remember this part. No, you're right.
Yeah, I think they use it more so to go ahead and trigger Saber's legend ability. And weirdly enough, Pack of Wonders isn't loading up for me. All the other cards load up, but let me see. I guess I'll pull the treasure trove or something just to make sure it's working. Yeah, that's so weird. So Treasure Trove loads up, but Pack of Wonders doesn't. Either or, guys. Pack of Wonders, I believe you just exhaust me and then bounce back pretty much anything on the board. It could be a unit, it could be a gear, and I guess those are the only viable targets, of course. So nice little combo. You go ahead and bring the Treasure Trove back in hand, and when it leaves the board, you channel a Rune Exhausted and you draw 1. So it's a nice little kind of info loop, if you will. You keep playing the treasure troves over and over, and Pack of Wonders back the treasure trove. So it's a slow and steady, which kind of more so leans towards that aspirant climb we were discussing early on. Because the more runes you have, the more runes you have to use that combo that we're saying here. So it makes some sense, but it looks like Fervent does get established out, and you tie things up 4-4. So I think slowly but surely, Aurelia trying to get back into this game, because Sivir doesn't have too much going on in base. Just one Ezreal with 3 might doesn't feel all that good.
Yeah, but there are already a Pack of Wonder developed, a Seal developed, and the Ezreal for the repeats. There are some options here. And the playing Fervent, like, I'm going to say naked right now without protection, and your opponent knows it because they just use Sabotage. So you're hard committing, and but there's no other choice for the Irelia player. You have to commit like this because you're behind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it does make sense. So let's see a nice little stack deck from Sivir size. There's a scrap heat, another seal. You're probably not looking at that since you already have one played out onto the board. That's a double trove in hand, and it won't be a call shot. Interesting enough, I guess he does value having another seal. I guess you never could have enough really. So plays out another seal. And I think if he has another call shot in hand, it might be the perfect opportunity to go ahead and make full use of that seal right here, right now. But interesting enough, doesn't seem to have one. I did catch a glimpse. I think he does have, at the minimum, something like another Ezreal to go ahead and pitch the scrap heat, draw 3. Doesn't feel all that bad, but if you do so, that's Irelia maybe going up to 6 points unless you're forced to push up your Ezreal, and pushing up your Ezreal against a Tide Turner on Dreaming Tree when you know Irelia has maybe 1 or 2 combat tricks. I mean, it's not for certainty because you have look at the hand, but there's that minimum 2 runes available, and we did see. And Leroy, that's from 4 to 5, 5 to 6, double hold for Irelia. She is feeling good. I wonder if Sivir feels confident in this position, saying, I'm going to be able to keep her away from conquering. But it's a lot easier said than done, because how do you truly stop an Irelia that can seem to get such might so quickly?
Yeah, the position is not comfortable for Sivir, but the fact that she elected to pick the second seal makes me think like the player is still in control, and they're like, I have time, I can develop my strategy, I will catch up. 6 is not that scary. Not even with a double hold or double conquer
Right.
can Irelia finish the game. So yeah.
Yeah, he does have a bit more breathing room because of the aspirant climb. So you're not at you're not at the range of losing from a double conquer slash double hold. That is indeed, you have to go all the way to 9. So maybe Sivir feeling like she can play it relatively close to Aurelia getting up there. But if there's one unit to kind of close things out a whole lot sooner than later, it will be Draven Audacious. So now Sivir has to be very, very considerate what unit they want to go ahead and leave exposed. Yes, you get a point for yourself, but that's a unit that Draven Audacious is staring very intently at, and he wants to go ahead and conquer ASAP. And if you don't have things like a punch first in the hand to try to back up your unit, that's going to be a conquer for the win and then a point for the combat. And I know I said that in reverse, but combat first and then the point for the conquer. I think there's a world, if Sivir pushes up, which wouldn't be the smartest thing to do, maybe there's a world Aurelia just wins the next turn. But let's see what Sivir has in mind, because you have to put points on the board eventually. And we're seeing some decent cards in hand. Maybe a challenge to try to get that Draven slash Irelia out of there. We'll see. This is a tricky spot for Sivir. What do we think about her position so far?
Well, I have no idea. This is the moment where I'm like, maybe he has figured everything out, because again, he took that seal knowing that he would not bring that much. It's also less trigger from the severe ability. So I'm wondering, but there's a Raza in end. There must be some outs that I'm not seeing right now.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I am not seeing the full out, but we did get a call shot. It looks to be the case, as
Well,
it
we
looks
got
at
two
the top 2
Fizz.
cards. Did
They're
he
picking
play a
Fizz,
Fizz for
right?
the call shot, or did he have a call shot in
No,
hand? I
it
didn't get
was
to see.
it was a call shot. No, it was a
Okay.
call shot. But right now I'm seeing some sabotage and some Fizz and some cards that can be used to nuke your opponent's hand. Maybe you want that punch first, be able to deal combat damage.
It seems to be the
because you
case,
already.
right? A punch first on one of your units into a double challenge. If there's a world where Aurelia doesn't have a defiant hand, those challenges could resolve. Because let's try to break it down a little bit. Punch first brings those Ezreals up to 8. Challenge number 1 could take down the Draven. Challenge number 2, that's the tricky part because you do have those on guards in hand. So Aurelia would go from 4 to 7. And then if you use the legend ability, it goes up to 8. So you're right tying 8 to 8. Your Ezreal would die. But that's in the world. There's not another combat trick to get her out of the range. So it could be a bit too risky to go ahead and deploy out. So I think he's going to go for a different line. So this is going to be good. I don't know exactly what he
I mean,
has in mind.
if you're trying to challenge anything, you want first to play your Fizz and reload your. Oh, that's a big hit. Reheat your Sabotage to like wipe any potential threat of like reacting spells, and Fizz is really good with that.
Yeah, Fizz is really good in general. Picks up a Rebuke as well. So I think he is considering playing out the Fizz for now. We're taking a bit of a look at what he has in the discard pile. I'm seeing a stacked deck. And I can't really make out what the other cards are, but he decides to play out a Fizz on that Aspirant Climb. So let's see what spell he will be returning back from the trash bin. And yeah, Fizz animation, always cool with the water coming in. But he looks to just be digging for more cards. Oh, even better. Go ahead on the third Sabotage being played out this turn. And there's such few cards in hand. More importantly, though, of course, information is king. When your opponent is at 6 points, you want to know exactly what to expect going forward. On guard, and a lonely. So obviously there's only pretty much one target. So he does decide on that. So not too bad. That Sabotage was pretty good.
Yeah. Now you want to keep enough to play a Rebuke. Because if a Draven comes in and wins combat, you're not in a good position, but this Raza is doing a lot of work. It's still tricky because Draven is threatening to score 2 points and to close the game completely.
Yeah, it's always the case when you have an Audacious on the board. I'm wondering if there's a world where Aurelia top decks something like a Charm. That could be exactly what she needs, but a Charm means you didn't top deck something like a Defiant Dance, so it's a bit of a double-edged sword. You need an extra buff for the Fervent to try to get over this massive board, getting build up and reinforce on the Aspirant Climb. But you also need something like a nice little Charm, but protecting the Lonely Poro just to get a +1 draw, as well as taking down the Ezreal. But here we go, the punch first from the first time in this game. Number 1 does get invested. That's 4 to 8 total might. I think that Lonely Poro is going straight to the trash. At least you get a +1 draw. You did get a punch first out of the hand for Sivir, because a punch first on the Dreaming Tree means most likely not a punch first on the Aspirant Climb. So I think they are okay with that trade. This is still tough. I think Sivir was feeling confident earlier because she was thinking 1-2 step ahead. And Leroy doesn't save for the Rebuke, but trying to go on the proactive game plan and challenge.
Yeah. Now that Ezreal is at 8, you have to go for the kill, I guess. And I get Draven. Is there Defenders and something to prevent that?
Oh, he's risking it for the biscuit. I believe he only had one combat trick. He's trying to top deck the other, so pumps up the Draven up to 8 total might and doesn't hit. He was hoping to see something like the Defiant Dance. The Draven goes down. I'm pretty sure they paid the deflect cost. They pretty much either had the seal / the gold to do so. Oh, and Irelia, even though she was in a decent position just a couple turns ago, I think that turn alone is where Sivir not only equalized it, but slightly pulling out ahead despite it being 6 to 6 so far. Because with the hand currently of Irelia, I think Rasa at the minimum should be able to hold that battlefield.
I saw a GA which is really good. Because right now you want to protect this Irelia. Sivir got pretty low on runes, but she's got 2 seals and 2 gold, so it's okay-ish.
Yeah, it's okay. Sivir's no stranger to playing on a bit of a lower rune economy just because you do have those gold slash seals as you mentioned. But let's see what this player decides to do, thinking very carefully. As you point out, there is a guardian angel in the hand, so most likely we'll be going ahead and playing out the GA, attaching to Irelia. So Irelia will be swinging in for 6 total might as it stands, but 6 is just enough to take care of one of those units. I guess you could technically take out the Fizz and the Merchant together, but either or you won't be successful in conquering. Even if you double up, actually you bring it up to 7, Tide Turner goes up to 9. There's 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 total might on Aspirin Climb. Oh man, I don't know if Irelia could do it. You kind of tie the tempo if you conquer to 7. They hold to 7, so it goes kind of back and forth, but you would be 1 point ahead, wouldn't you? I wonder if the play here is just to conquer Dreaming Tree.
I don't know exactly. I think he's thinking differently. The way he's stacking up Irelia, but he's got only units in hand. So he can't do much.
Yeah, if he had a way of targeting her and readying her with the legend ability, it would be super straightforward to send it over to the unit side of the battlefield. But just because you're lacking in terms of targetability on that Irelia legend, you don't have any other options. So does decide to just try to hold and stay 1 point ahead of your opponent. You're conquering up to 7. They're holding to 7. If they don't push you off, you're holding to 8. They're holding to 8. On and so forth. That with that all put together, you will be getting to 9, right 1 point before your opponent. I think she says that is the only path to victory. Let's see what Sivir has to say about that, though. It does go back to her turn. Things like on the hunt, things like confront with another Rasa or 2 might be feeling pretty good in the situation. Remind me, Leroy, is on the hunt just ready all your units? Like if you retreated all your units from the climb, you would just ready them with that spell?
Yeah, I think so. I think on the hunt is ready all of your units. Pretty sure.
Yeah, that would be super helpful in this position. So let's see. Ezreal number 3 looks to be played out. So develops it directly onto the battlefield. Pitches the scrap heat. If there's a couple set of cards that he was looking for, most likely we'll be able to draw them. That's a double confront slash a seal, I believe, off the top 3.
Yeah, it is what I saw too. Okay, the Age of Night. Great.
Might have been the stack deck actually there, but even better stack deck to look for even better cards. He's digging. He wants to find the on the hunt, but the fact that he played it directly to a battlefield almost tells me that he wants to go and go ahead and try to hold for the win. So picks up at least a Rasa. He also has access to the punch first.
Yeah. Still thinking Rasa that you can confront and go for the Irelia, or you can use a challenge. But I don't know if you would rather use confront or challenge. Okay, want some more draw?
Yeah, trying to look at every single piece of information before truly committing if he wants to go ahead and try to take down this Dreaming Tree battlefield or not. So pitches the rebuke, interesting enough. Doesn't want to fall victim of something like a not so fast. I don't think he picked up anything too good as he didn't put it at the top of the hand. So something that might not be too useful in this circumstance. So thinking and thinking, what does he want to do for this turn? Has a Rasa, has a confront, but doesn't really have enough energy to do too many things. Can play a confront for 2, leave 1 energy open, 1 power for the Rasa, but that's 6 to 5 currently. Is that a risk
You
you're
know,
willing to take, or is GA kind of makes that not really a good play?
uh, you have to go for the kill anyway. And you know what I just realized? There's something that R&D did all the time they was playing Sivir. And that I just realized this guy didn't do once.
Is it the notes?
Yes, it's the notes. This
Right,
guy
yeah.
did not take any notes at any point.
Very true.
And so what does that, do you think that he knows exactly? Do you think he remembers and he can count
No,
everything that has been
maybe.
below?
He could be
Some
Mega
people
Mind,
can.
right?
Yeah, maybe he's a freaking genius.
Mm-hmm. More likely the case saying, I know relatively what I've been sending to
Yeah.
the bottom. I don't know exactly card for card, but I have a good indication of what to expect a little bit later on. But this is interesting to me. He seems to be going on the full hold the strategy, maybe pick up the on the hunt when I need it most, because this is a hold up to 7. And just as we said as the previous turn, if we're going tit for tat, turn to turn, Irelia gets to that 9th point before your opponent, so goes up to 8. Goes and sends the portal just to draw, because right now you just need to hold and develops out the audacious. He's saying, come at me, bro. Just see if you could take this battlefield away from me. It is 8 to 7, about 30 minutes, exactly the halfway point. That's the the charm, Leroy. The MVP
There's no
audacious.
there's
There
nothing
is
for
no
rebuke.
counters for Sivir. That should be all but over. Irelia with the audacious coming into play. That is a GG, and what a nice way of sneaking out the victory, even though she was looking good in the long run.
Yeah. And like he was so close, and you can see the power of aspirant climb.
Maybe just completely falling for that not so fast trap. But I'm seeing a couple good things in chat. Knights running from YouTube saying there was a hunt in the trash. You could have Pack of Wonders Fizz, played the Fizz again, played the on the hunt, and then maybe that's a way of conquering the Dreaming Tree. I like that play, Knight. Really heads up play, which goes to show what Leroy was saying. This is a very tricky deck to pilot, right? There's so many little micro decision points that completely change the outcome of every game. And right there, not a lot of players could have thought about that in the moment. But these guys sideboarded way faster than we've seen in the past. It looks like we're diving straight into game number 2 of this 6th round for day number 1 of today's national tournament. Will Sivir kind of come back and bring us into that game number 3? Or is it just Irelia's time to shine this tournament? She's destined for a victory eventually. Will it be in the final major tournament of Spiritforged? Or maybe if she gets a little bit more support, as we're seeing in set 3, it might be her time to shine a little bit down the road. But Sunken Temple and Sigil of the Storm seems the battlefield selection for the second game. And seems to be pretty straightforward for both of them, right? I don't think it sways from anything we've seen in the past.
Yeah, and you're really happy to see no turn 1 for Irelia as the silver player. Sneaky, always make your deck, your game so much more complicated, but right now there's nothing, and so yep.
Yeah, I'm not feeling too bad. Starting off with the Seals and Ezreal combo. Couldn't get anything better to curve things out for the Sivir player, as well as the treasure trove already established onto the board. Pitching a stack deck, or not pitching it, but using a stack deck. Should be looking at top 3. Unless he actually did pitch it. No. He pitched a scrap heat and now playing the stack deck. A challenge on the hunt. He was desperately on the hunt for the previous turn, but decides to get the Pack of Wonders to go ahead and start that 1-2 combo as early as the next turn. You know, Leroy, how do we feel about the combo early on? Because I feel like sometimes you're just using your turn to draw, but you don't really do too much. But maybe since Irelia doesn't have units, it won't be too bad. I don't know how I feel about it.
I mean, if you've got nothing else to play anyway, and it's often the case, might as well do this. But right now I'm seeing another Israel. I'm seeing a lot of good things. Also, the fact that you get rune channeled helps you so much to accelerate your game plan.
It really does. So another seal coming down. That's a scrap heat number 2. How many cards has he drawn from these Ezreal slash scrap heat combos? That is card number 6 from those, to be exact. So man, I never personally done Ezreal scrap heat. Have you done it, Leroy? Have you done the infamous draw 3? I just don't have any
Yeah,
Ezreals myself.
yeah. Not again, not in real life, but I was playing as real at the beginning,
Okay.
and
But no, yeah. I mean, like in TCGA, yeah, I've done
yeah,
it in TCGA, but I
not
meant like
only in
personally
CCA.
having the
No,
pleasure of drawing 3 cards in
no,
person. It kind of
no. I
hits a
did
little
not have that.
different.
No, no. You're right on this one.
Mm-hmm. And of course, I'm kind of playing around here, but Aurelia does go ahead and push on forward onto second tempo. Does she take the draw? Because he's kind of considering it. She is at 5, so a nice little little tap one for a draw, saying, "Do you have enough cards? If I use the energy, will I have enough?" And he actually decides to not use it. Interesting enough, so he has a game plan in mind.
Apparently so. Oh, cold shot.
And looks to be the sabotage, just like it did so much work in that game number 1, looking to repeat something of the like. But considering, does he want to go ahead and defy just to keep the other cards in hand a bit safe? He does have the ride the win, he does have discipline and on guard. I feel like it's a needed, or I guess he says is a unneeded defy.
Yeah, he does not agree, but I would have done the same. Like the idea to show my hand to my opponent would throw me off so much, and so I would use that defy probably. And
The
maybe
only
that
reason I
would be
could
my
possibly
mistake.
think about this play of not defying that is because he knows if I show him my hand, it's very likely that he doesn't choose the defy, as we've seen him choose the on guard and discipline slash ride the win before. But a heads up play from Sivir is saying, you know what? Defy takes care of my call shots like I'm doing right now. Defy takes care of my challenges if I want to go ahead and try to challenge a Draven, challenge a Stella, challenge a Fervent. And I mean, Defy just poses a big problem for Sivir, so it does make sense. But I guess you did defy it effectively, right? He just got all the information. You used the defy went to the trash slash recycle at the bottom of the deck, but he just got the full info for it. So kind of the same thing. You
Yeah,
lost that card in from hand.
yeah. So basically, you tried the not recycling one power from the defy uh, to against revealing your whole hand to your opponent. Is it worth it? I don't know. You tell me.
Right, you were basically sacrificing 1 rune versus your opponent, knowing exactly what to expect, at least for the next 1 to 2 turns. That is if he remembers, because as we point out, he isn't taking notes, but some people, at least for the hand, I remember when I was playing a couple TCGs that don't allow nodes, I was getting pretty decently at remembering exactly what 6 to 7 cards they had remaining. Pitches us, oh no, I keep thinking they pitch, but no, it's a call. Oh no, he does pitch the call shot. Interesting. Wait. I guess he wants to pick things up with a fizz down the road, because that's not a card we see too often pitch. But of course, the Sivir player knows a whole lot more than I on how to effectively pilot this deck, of course. So let's see if he does. I mean, he has to have a fizz in hand is the only thing I could consider.
Yeah. Um, he's got a scary board. He didn't score any point yet, but the fact that he's at 3 as real on board, uh, Pack of Wonders, he's got some potentially channeled a lot of runes already as a Sivir. which tends to recycle a lot. And his opponent is only at 3 points, so I think I kind of like Sivir spot right now. Let's see, because there's still this Draven, this Irelia that can ramp up, and this time he did not manage to completely discard his opponent hand. So let's see. I'm really curious to see how this game is going to turn out.
You know, I will tend to agree. Sivir's not in a bad position, but something she does have to be very, very considerate of is the simple fact that there is no longer aspirant climb. So the more margin and difference these points start spreading apart, right now you're at 3-0. It's really close to almost 8, right? You're at the halfway point where you haven't scored a single point. But it's almost like the likes of Ezreal, right? Where Ezreal could fall really far behind, but just like in a single turn, you could change the tides of battle. I think Sivir acts a little bit of has some similarities to that deck. But here's the sabotage number 2. You know, every time I do play a Sivir player, I feel like they draw every single sabotage, but I guess just because they end up drawing pretty much every single card in their deck anyway, which is probably why it feels that way.
Yeah. Now, so what do you have? Discipline, Rebuke, and On Guard. Oh, the charm that I didn't see.
Yeah, their charm is
It's getting
MVP, right?
PTSD.
Charm is exactly how they won game number 1, so I am looking straight at the charm to go ahead and recycle it to the bottom. The other options look to be discipline, discipline. Was it on guard? Discipline, discipline, on guard. And interesting, saying I'm trying to deny you as much draw as possible. I don't care if you charm one of my Ezreals. I have so many on the board. I have all of them on the board. So, okay. Trying to just take care of any combat tricks, but here we go. The confront to draw 1, as well as everything played out, does gain accelerate effectively. So all these rosters will be coming in readied. This is gonna be a big turn for Sivir. I feel like I think she's definitely gonna be putting her first points on the board. But I'm wondering if it's worth it here, because I don't know if you're taking care of any of the units in the back line. But we'll give them some credit. I think they know exactly what they have in mind. That's a double Fizz, picks up 1 from the call shot, and it might have been a double stack deck, interesting enough.
It's going fast. It's going really fast. I can't barely follow. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah, he is going quick. He realizes, oh,
Oh,
wait a
Seal
minute. We're
Sabotage,
just
Seal
in game
Sabotage.
number 2 early game with 17 minutes remaining. If I have any kind of world of trying to win this best of 3 series, I need to go at lightning speed, so I could definitely respect it. Picks up a scrap heat and then
None of
sends the
them.
rest of the 2 down to the bottom of the deck. Has a good grip of cards right now. I believe about actually the graphic up there. Do you see they changed that, Leroy? They show us the cards in hand now, which is really cool.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, 7 to
Must
9
be
cards. That
really
wasn't in the
hard to keep.
regionals.
Yeah, must be so hard to keep the track with the way it's done. I mean, with the way Sivir plays.
Right. You know, I don't envy that job, because honestly, they have one person specifically paying close attention to their hand, unless they have some kind of counter tool, some kind of camera that watches. But I don't think so. I think it's just a person that inputs the 9 or the 7 cards left in both of these players' hand. Call shot number 3. That's the final call shot without taking into account of any kind of fish shenanigans. So pulls a seal. And was that the orange seal? It almost looked to be the case. In a punch first to round out that second selection for the call first, or for the call shot. And we thought he had a lot of cards before, going all the way up to 11 cards in hand. Plays the merchant, discards the scrap heat. Oh my goodness, Leroy, this guy is drawing out of this world. You know, the UI should say how much cards he has left in deck at this point.
That could be a good question indeed.
Mm-hmm. You know what's funny? Sometimes when you have so many cards in hand, it's almost like a good problem, but a problem nonetheless because you have so many options. It's almost like a
Yeah,
paralysis. I forget the exact same, but like action paralysis where you don't know exactly what action to take, but goes for the challenge. But oh, a defy for the challenge. So there was another defy actually. So Irelia did end up top decking one down the road. So puts a big wrench on that game plan for Sivir. I feel like she's doing a whole lot, but okay, that's a good card. Rasa onto the battlefield. But keep in mind, you are behind on tempo, so you don't want to over invest on one side of the battlefield because that just kind of goes to the same thing that happened in game one. She could kind of go ahead and do the same strategy down below on the Sigil of the Storm. So this is interesting to say the least. Let's see how Sivir decides to spend the remaining moments of the turn. That is another challenge. Will this challenge bear fruit this turn? Can she take down that Fervent this turn around? Or is there something like a not so fast? Or at the minimum, we do have some combat tricks, I'm thinking.
yeah. And I don't even know if he targeted Irelia or the Steracon, but I'm thinking Steracon because Irelia is too easy to pump up.
I think so, right? Just to take down the card advantage tool in that Stellarcorn Herder. So most likely going to be choosing the Rasa as target number 1 on your friendly unit side. And then, I mean, if you really thought you could take down the Fervent, that's obviously the higher value card. But being realistic with yourself, you're probably more better off trying to take down the Stellarcorn Herder. But it's not the best position. Just taking a look at Irelia's cards in hand, one discipline. Oh, it was the Stellarcorn. You were absolutely right. And he is stacking it up. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Oh, I see why. He has the card he was looking for last turn. So he knows, he's kind of saying, you know what? I want you to push onto this battlefield because at any moment I can retreat my units and then play my signature spell on the hunt. So I think he's setting up for that turn because I did see it in hand unless I missaw it.
Yeah. There's 20 might on the board for Irelia to overcome.
Yeah, we could do
And
the
she
quick
can run
maths.
so quickly.
It almost seems to me Irelia might just win based off point/turns because we're about 12 minutes away from going into overtime. 18/20 might trying to hold down that sunken temple. I will say I think 20 might is a little bit too tall for Irelia to take down, of course, but a double rebuke on something like a double Rasa will be bringing that battlefield definitely down to size, just leaving behind what 6-8 total might. That's way more manageable than the current 20 that stands right there. But it's a huge investment. We are talking about 4 runes out the gate for that kind of play. It's much better play when you're trying to close things out. But when we're talking 3 to 1, it could be a little bit too heavy. So goes for the straightforward Sigil Conquer. And I like this play a whole lot more, right? If you're going to go hold for hold as you did in game number 1, it should be a little bit more effective.
Yeah. There's no Raider win in hand, right?
Yeah.
And you want to keep the for Raven, but you got there's this flash if you want to ready Irelia and get back in the battle, but I don't think I saw enough spells to overcome the might on the board.
Yeah, I don't believe so, right? That's just one too much might. Might as well save the rebukes. If they do try to go ahead and retreat those Rasas, something like the signature spell, and then push those Rasas forward, you could use the same rebukes you would have used this turn to try to get them off the battlefield, but instead you go ahead and use them after they went and played a couple things out this turn and just kind of force them to replay the Rasas, because I think once you ready the units, on the hunt isn't retroactive. It doesn't read the same as confront those as confront does, right? So it doesn't say everything is ready this turn, but goes for the fizz. Might be looking at something like a call shot, but goes for the sabotage number 3. Let's see what's lurking behind the hand for Irelia. You have such great cards. Are we just flashing here? It seems to be the case. It does seem pretty smart. Just get the Aurelias to safety
Yeah,
while you can.
I think that's quite a good play. And like when you play against all this sabotage, I hate playing against orange so much. And when you get sabotage up 4, 5 times in the game, you start to want to peel your skin off.
Oh yeah. I could totally see that, of course. And now this time around does pick their charm because of the audacious being currently in the hand. But let's see, these players, as we said before, has to be very careful about the time right now. Approaching that 10-minute marker, 4-2. Irelia is leading by 2. If this trend stays, if you keep leading by 2. But we are seeing here a conquer up to 3 for Sivir, but that's just the 3 might conquer, which is easy pickings for a unit like a Fervent if they don't have something like a punch first, of course, because there's still 8 cards remaining, and we haven't really seen most of those cards as he kind of keeps it a bit close, and he doesn't really have a big spread of cards, right? He kind of keeps them all. Oh, I guess he does. He definitely does have a punch first, as we just saw. You know, Leroy, there should be something like a timer for each player's turn. It would be 80 something percent Sivir to Aurelia's 20 something percent. I think
Yeah,
a bit of a ball hog in terms of a turn, right? Because Sivir's turns have been taken insanely long versus Aurelia's turns.
yeah. I'm thinking let's create a blitz tournament where people have clocks
Mm-hmm.
and they have to press it to pass action.
I know exactly what you mean. Something like, you have your time, I have my time. If your time hits 0,
Yeah,
that's another win condition, right? That would be a little different set of
yeah,
rules for Riftbound. I doubt we get there, but it could be fun. It could be fun for a little one-off tournament or something like that.
yeah. It would be a fun tournament. This could not be competitive, but it would be a fun tournament.
Mm-hmm. Right. Some people would consider definitely competitive, maybe more competitive than it is currently right now. But Sivir does, as it currently stands, holding down both battlefields under her control, under her possession. That's a Rasa, Ezreal. Just a whole lot of triplets on the board. But I don't think Irelia is feeling all that bad. As long as you're able to at least conquer one of these battlefields, you are leading in terms of points, and a double rebuke with a Draven as well for some kind of clapbacks. You're looking good. I was feeling like Sivir was kind of inching her way back in, and despite her being currently on, currently holding those battlefields down, I feel like Irelia can easily, at the minimum, take down the sigil, because that's just 9 might. Aurelia's at 5. One discipline brings it up to 8. I guess you do need a little bit more than that. If they had a Defiant Dance, that would be perfect in this situation.
Yeah, Defendants is it's a broken card. Let's be honest.
Yeah, you mean Defiant Dance?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's
Defendants is
such a good
broken.
card. It is the MVP. I mean, to be fair, a lot of signature spells in Spiritforged are really good. And speaking of signature spells, have you been seeing some of the signature spells coming to us in set number 3,
Yeah,
Riftbound Unleash, Leroy? Are you excited for those?
Diana is.
Which one?
Diana spell is crazy.
Yeah, Deanna, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that one's awesome. I saw
Um.
Rainguard looking pretty good. The Poppy signature spell looking rather good. The Kazakh signature spell, honestly, they did a great job with usable, pretty effective signature spells next set. I'm super excited to get my hands on it.
Yeah. The set 3. I think everyone is really hyped about the set 3. I've heard only positive.
I think so. I mean, the only downsides I've heard online of it is, of course, the chaos craziness that sometimes feels like they're over tuning chaos with the Resurrection spell, with the Starcross spell, the little stun, but maybe it's a little confirmation bias. Like whenever we see a decent purple card, we're like, oh, it's broken, but we have to see if it's actually broken. I will say, I think that Starcross card is actually really good. Reaction speed, you take care of things like Thunder Song. Like a Thunder Song comes down, you could reaction speed put it back in the hand. Mind Splitter comes down, you could reaction speed put it back in the hand before it gets its trigger. That's an interaction we've never had in Riftbound before. I'm kind of here for it.
Yeah, let's see. I mean, purple will be still a bit of a turn anyway. Like, there are some problems with purple, that's for sure. But it's fine in the end. We'll see, but I feel like compared to set 2, other colors get more relatively to purple.
I think so,
It
right? The
feels more
gap is
balanced.
lessening. I agree 100%. It feels that way. And it almost feels like the legends coming out in set 3, they're not super, I mean, they're strong, but they're not as strong as the variants as the difference we saw from set 1 legends to set 2 legends. I feel like it's a bit of a smaller gap between set 2 and set 3. It almost feels like they're all at the same power level as a set 2 legend. So I really like that they're doing that. They're not like truly going on a crazy power creep, not power creep off the get-go, which always feels good as a TCG, especially when you're starting things off as early as those opening couple sets. Sabotage, getting rid of Rebuke number 1. You know there's another Rebuke where that came from. Little by little, just the pure card advantage from Sivir. We're talking about 9 cards to 2. Those are potential answers. Those are potential threats. I am liking more so Sivir's position the further it goes in this game. And he pointed at Sigil of the Storm, so he has to recycle a card there, or a rune. He could also tap the seal to pay for Sigil, right? I'm pretty sure you can.
No. Sigil is recycle
Is rune.
You cannot. It's not like power.
I gotcha. Oh, and a card we haven't seen all series long, the last right. I'll go ahead and pull it up for us here at home. Let's see if he wants to go ahead and attach it out and answers my questions as I pull it up. So it does attach it to the Rasa. So looking to hold, bring back one of those Ezreals. You can't bring back a Rasa since they're all on the board. And oh my goodness, Leroy, unit after unit. Combat trick after combat trigger. Not necessarily combat trick, but spell after spell. And Irelia wrapping things up with an unprecedented 3 minutes remaining. This is the tie if I ever seen one.
Yeah. Do you... Yeah. How does that work? Do you say like, oh, we're going to play only 5 turns?
Doesn't get fortunate, doesn't get the sneaky deck in. Uh-oh, Leroy.
Okay.
I think
and so there's a turn 0. Oh, there's even a turn 1. And okay, so now it's turn 0. Okay.
So Irelia is going to be turn number 1, right?
He tried to play fast enough to give the turn 0 to his opponent, but he couldn't make it in time.
It looks to not have anything to play out. Yes, you could play a Stellarcorn Herder, but you're tapping out, and this is turn number 1. But you still could maybe get one to... No, trying to extrapolate out a little bit. Sivir Champion goes on for a conquer number 1. Then Stellarcorn could conquer 1, ride the win to 2, but then Sivir holds to 3. Oh, wait a minute. She's trying to be a little bit more proactive, trying to score, but you're going to lose. You're not going to hold. I am confused, Leroy. Maybe I don't know who's active player on this or who got the overtime first, because Stellarcorn with a tapped out runes, how are you defending against the chosen champion that's already on base?
I don't know. He wants to shot. No. But wait, why is there 2 out of 3? Is it already the second turn?
Yeah,
was
Irelia
on turn 0? Okay, so yeah, and then by doing so, you're sure that there won't be any confront shenanigan.
I believe this should be the last turn. Well, if Sivir was 0, 1, 2, this is going to be Sivir's very last turn. And if they don't have anything to push back the Sivir, if this Stellarcorn could survive off the back of a fight or flight, that's a hold to 2, while Sivir wasn't able to conquer 1. So there's a risky play or a safe play that ties, right? The safe play would just go to the Obelisk of Power, get 1 point on the board, and your opponent can't get any bit more than 2 next turn, unless they have a Ride the Wind on guard to conquer both battlefields. Wait a second, there could be a way.
Yeah, but no matter what, if you guys try to score the 2 points, I don't know.
Now, yeah, you have
just
to
want
score 2 points, right? Because at this particular situation, Sivir most likely will get that 1 point, right? So 1 and 1, you hold to 2 if she wanted to conquer the other battlefield. Or if she doesn't, I mean, there's a hidden card. If she wants to call the bluff that it's something like a Zhonya's Hourglass, but I mean, who are we kidding? It's definitely something like a fight or flight. So you get pushed back. You have a single 2 runes, or 2 runes are available. Oh, this is tough, but she's deciding to play more safely. Picks up the Sabotage, so he's saying, if I can't win, you can't win either, because I'm going to go ahead and take out the Ride the Wind to cancel out any kind of idea of trying to double conquer. It was indeed that fight or flight. So back to Sivir goes. What is their reaction to this? And not literally reaction, but what do they decide to do in response to being sent back? You have 2 runes available. You wish you had something like a Ride the Wind, of course, but we haven't seen it all
but there's
series
on the
long.
hunt. There's on the hunt, so you can go back in there.
Oh, true. On the hunt, you conquer up to 1. And that's just a tie. If it is on the hunt, it's all but over. So signature spell ready. All your units for Sivir. Oh, wait, that's a double conquer. Oh,
Yeah.
but it's still 2 to 1, isn't it?
It's still 2 to 1. But this way you make sure that there's no 3 to 1 by scoring 2 points. You cure the draw. So yeah, GG to both players. It's over, guys. Pack your bags.
That is right. Pack them up. No longer either undefeated. I mean, who's to blame here? We're blaming Sivir, right? There's just took one too many. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't truly their fault, but one player kind of took way more turns, or way longer on their turns than the other. But it wasn't necessarily on purpose, was it?
Oh, what? It's written 2 out of 3. It's not the last turn.
It should be.
Apparently not.
If it's not, Sivir wins.
Yeah. Which make us big liars, because we said several times that. Okay, so yeah, no, 2. So that would be 2 to 3.
You hold to 3, and then there's really high likelihood that you're going to be able to enable the ganking on the Sivir to go ahead and cross over to the Tide Turner to bring you up to 4. I think this is a win for Sivir. I cannot believe what we're seeing. We thought it was almost just going to go ahead and tie things up. And all you have to do is spend 2 power, and ganking does come online, conquering over to the Tide Turner, bringing you up to 4 points. And that is exactly
that's crazy.
Crazy?
That's crazy.
But
I really don't understand how she got the turn 0 of that. Like, I don't know. Yeah, no, I got confused in the turn. I really got confused in the turn.
Maybe our time was slightly different than the time they have internally there, because I swear it was turn 0 on Sivir's turn, but maybe they gave turn 0 to Irelia. But there we go. It looks to be the case. It does come out ahead in overtime. Throws up the fist, saying, if you want to fight about it, I am here for it. I'm winning this match. I am staying undefeated. best of luck to him going forward, because he has to be a bit more mindful on the time. But keep in mind, guys, I don't mean it as is his fault. It's just the deck naturally takes a whole lot of time to get things done, as you want to go as late as possible, but it just doesn't favor him in terms of the 60-minute window you have to accomplish these best of 3 series. Either or, a win's a win. Well done to him.